What's happening? What's happening, my peoples, my peoples? Welcome to another true enlightening episode of Stepping into the Light. Because we putting the light on situations that I've been kept in dark places. So check it out, man. I want y'all to get a load of what the title is, what the pictures you see, because all this ties in. All this ties in. Check it out. True power. Who's really selling us out? Right? True power. So here's the question. What is it that we don't see about the mechanics of everything that we think we know? What is it we don't see? Just like when you're looking at a tree, what is it that you don't see about that tree that's really going on? What is it? Let me tell you what it is that you don't see. You don't see the root. You see the trunk. You see the branches. You see the limbs. You see the leaves. You see the flowers. You see the fruit. But what you don't see is the root. And like I said, man, in my other little episode, I'll let y'all know, man, I'm a root person, man. You did? I'm going to do my research and I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at the root of the situation. You know, as you can see, I got this American flag up. I got this Pan African flag up. But I got lacrosse, two lacrosse sticks up, and I got a basketball up. I know you're saying, wow, how did all that tie back? And you see the hand pulling the flag back like a curtain and revealing, you know, the Pan African flag, right? So the thing of it is, man, it's like it's a throw off. If you really check it out, man, it's layers and layers and layers of what's really being hidden. You gotta dig to find what's hidden. You ain't gonna walk down the street and just find a big old diamond on the ground. You're not gonna walk out in the field and find gold laying on the top of the soil. You got to dig just a little bit to get in there and see what's in that soil. So that's really what we doing, and what I'm doing is digging a little bit just to get down in the soil and see what's really in the soil when it comes to what's really making up this true power that the United States has, and also these Pan Africans situation and what they contribute, if anything, other than confusion. So, man, listen, man, the true power of what America is built on is definitely in the soil. It's definitely in the hidden history of what really makes the country go on. So like it's been known that, okay, we had black people picking cotton. We know this. This is a fact. Okay, it was picking cotton. And they made all this money, quote unquote, off of the cotton picking industries. They made so much money off of that. That gave them what? True power. It gave them leverage, man. You understand? I mean, all you got to do is open up a book and read about the money, the wealth, the power, the status that people received from being, big cotton farmers, and just, you had these slaves and they was out there working and you gave them some beans and cornbread and a hut, you know, uh, and so much hell to go with it. And when people look at people think slavery, they think past tense. They think in essence of this has passed, this has already taken place. But guess what? You this country And the rest of the world now is reaping the benefits from what's in the dirt, from what's been hidden, from not knowing that lacrosse, basketball, football, baseball, all of these things, even hockey, I got to give all of these things came from the original people of this land. The original people of this land. The indigenous people of this land. When these people begin to move in to this area, they came in studying the people. They wanted to know what made them tick. The indigenous people of this land, they put a title and call them Indians, but the indigenous people of this land have their own names. They have their own origins of what they call themselves, or Indians is a name that was put on these people. But when you start doing real research and finding out where these places and games were originating, you see and you find out the origin is right here on this soil. You know, the indigenous people here were playing games with balls made out of deer skin stuffed with felt, making kickballs with deer skin stuffed with felt, and footballs and every other ball that you could think of. Not only were they making the ball, they were playing the games, and not only were they making the balls, playing the games, but they also was betting on each other in these games. And they were trading wealth. They would bet their wives, they would bet horses, they would bet clothing, jewelry, everything. And so these people who colonized and came in and moved, they saw that, hey, woo, they got something special going on. And so all they did was capitalize on it. You're going to take the game from these people and then capitalize on it, grab their little children, and then sell the game back to the people, man. Come on, man. This is some wicked genius shit. Wicked genius shit going on here, man. That's accumulated into true power for these United States. Not just for these United States, but like I said, globally. These are games that came from the plains people, man. From us. Let's remove the lies. Because see, in this article, right? Colonial Williamsburg, the Indian origins of the games. In that article that I read, it is so much meat and potatoes in there, man. And I'm gonna leave the clip on here also, so where you will be able to find this article and go and read it for yourself. I'm gonna leave it at the end, and man, I'm telling you, Colonial Williamsburg, the Indian origins of the games. Man, listen, it's just so much information in here, man. It got powerful for me because my mother is from Michigan, okay? And this article opened up my understanding to the fact of it was a military fort there. And at this fort, man, it had an Indian name to the fort, which was broken down, and that's how Michigan even got its name, from this fort. But my whole point is that my mother is from Michigan, born and raised. Her mother, her mother's mother was full blooded Indian. So I'm still tracing history and getting a hold to certain Indians. I mean, certain knowledge and information, so that I can build my own platform about who I am. We're not gonna keep carrying this Negro title, and which y'all can't even explain to us what that is. Negro, and then the Nigga, all that. My people got an origin, man, and it's from here. It's on this land. I know for sure. I am. My family has origin on this land. I'm not from Africa. I'm not from. My people are the indigenous people. The Indians, Plains are from this land. Okay, so and that's part of what this true power thing is all about. It's been a power shift. It's been a power play. Who's really selling us out is the question. Through all of this, once we start digging and finding out, hey, these games originated here. So now, I said all that to say this is you look at today, here we are, 2024. 2024 that we talking about. All of these things that took place in the 1800s, 1700s. Now here we are in 2024. And the same games that they saw the indigenous people playing when they first landed here and got here and start understanding what it was that made these people who they are, when they saw it, man, they knew they was gonna make money from that point on. It was just a matter of getting all the pieces in the right places. And so 2024, here we are. And let me say this about the games, man, that were originally played by the indigenous people of this land. The games were not played then for money. It's not what it was about. The games were played in order, first of all, it was a spiritual connection to what they understood as the gods, and it was to make the gods happy to see uh their creation, their children having a good time on the earth. Moving that ball from one side of the field back to the other side and knowing that this represents the sun and the moon's movement. That's what when you see them guys running up and down the court on the basketball with that ball's representing the sun going back and the moon going back, sun and going back and forth. You see what I'm saying? When you see that guy running at pigskin at football back and up, you see what I'm saying? Back and forth, up and down that field, it's representing the sun going one way, the sun going another way. It's going back and forth, you know. And then the struggle of what they know as nature. All of that's in these games, you know. But not only is it the representation of earth and spirit, it's also the rights to becoming a man. A lot of these games were very, very rough. Very rough. And it was rough for a reason because young men were coming into to being boys was coming into being men in this game. You took some blows, you took it, and you learned to take it, and you learned to better yourself. These guys, I'm talking about, they were really adamant about being the best that they could be in all of these games that were played, to the point to where they even restrained from women, certain foods they didn't eat. You get in there and read that article, man, and you will see how deep it was. And that's why the same routines are being used today when it comes to these games. The same routine of restraining and becoming one with self and understanding your physical capabilities and pressing yourself further. All of that came from these games, and these games came from the plains and the indigenous people, right? It's a facts. It's written. All we gotta do is go back and look and pull it up. And that's what we doing. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, you get back to what this title is saying, how America got its hands in all of this and what it's really doing to make sure that they benefit from this, and yet the indigenous people ain't benefiting shit from it. They ain't benefiting one iota. Okay? You only got one LeBron James. You only got one Michael Jordan. These are two men who done really, really made some money out of these games. And then you look at over in certain football arenas, you got certain football players who have made great strides, man, when it comes to the sport and have made great deals of wealth. But there are not a lot of those. See, it looks like what they want you to do is look like, okay, these NBA guys are making money, but that's the lure. A lot of them are not making money. That's why you seeing them caught up in these scandals. Gambling scandals going on in the NBA, gambling scandals going on in baseball, gambling scandals, guys getting caught up in these scandals, man, and they players, man, but they ain't really making no money. And that's why they end up getting off into some criminal activity, right? Because they're really not getting the true benefits. It's only a few certain players, man, who really, really get that check, who really, really get that bread. I mean, if you ain't one who promoting yourself and you really digging into it about who you are on the court, this, that, and the other, you ain't really making that money. A lot of them guys are just fill-ins. They just flour in the pot. They just to fill you up. They just to take up place on that court. But they are not getting that check. They're not getting that money. And ain't none of them getting that money that them owners are getting. They getting the billions on top of billions. It takes the players 20 years to get to the billion. They get them billions in a matter of years. Quick. And they own the game, man. And I just went to a game, man. Me, my son, we took my grandkids, and it was a nice experience but for me, I'm the whole time my mind is thinking and I'm looking and I'm in awe of, the people, man, at this game. It was a Lakers game and the Pacers, Indiana Pacers, man. We went to Indiana and got to watch the game. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. The money that is generated, right, in just one game, the money that's generated in one game is enough for one person to be able to live off for a lifetime. They make that kind of money. They make that kind of money. It's just that simple. I seen people in there, man. They were spending 12, $13, man, for beers and liquor. One beer. Same beer you go in the store and buy for $2. They sell it to you for $14. Some places $15, according to where your seat's at, probably. But I was watching people, man, and I was like, wow, man. And then when you get in this arena, I don't understand it, but it's a powerful move. Every time you change platforms in this place, I don't care where it is. If you like, it's according to where you at on the geographical scale, according to how you gonna get hit across the head when it comes to what you gonna pay. And when you sitting in these games, man, you will buy some nachos for $10, $15 and a couple of hamburgers that when I'm talking about the cheap stuff, oh, it's the cheap stuff. They had the cheap stuff in there. I mean, that meat, man, I'm sorry I ain't made it. For real. It's the cheap stuff and they microwave it. I don't even eat microwave. They slid that joke. I said, oh man, after I got to biting into it, I said, man, it's microwave. So I'm just putting these points out here just to show that they're not going to great deals to really make these massive amounts of money. No, not going through great deals. Listen, they sitting back and orchestrating this, man. It's just what you understand called capitalism, capitalize, man. The root, you got to look at this, man. This is, one of the things, man, that was said years ago, and it's been a principle of business. If you build it, they will come. And man, they just build. And I'll be damned. The principle holds true every time. You build it, they coming. And they building it. And the reason these games resonate in our hearts, in our soul, in our spirit, because they in our DNA, they part of our makeup. They part of who we are. You actually probably, if we was able to, man, run this back, we probably got thousands of years of our people playing these games. Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of years of our people playing these games. These games become part of the DNA. That was part of the lifestyle. They was part of the culture. It was a part of who we were. You see? Just like the same thing with this spirituality and the stars, the moon. We have always been into that. So that's why you have an easy time when it comes to the elusiveness, that they use in business. It's almost like a copycat of what you do, but it ain't what you do. They using that same principle all the way across the board. They bring the copycat and fade you off with the copycat. Copycat fruit, copycat food, copycat games, copycat what else do they got over there? Copycat government. It's all copycat. All of it was copycatted, plagiarized from somebody else. And they using that to just continually get rich because ain't nobody wise enough to the plagiarism. Ain't nobody wise enough. You see what I'm saying? And you pull that America back, and you see then they come with this African thing, man. And why would y'all use that? It's the same way that they listen. The whole twist is this: you got a people indigenous to this land. My people, my family is indigenous to this land. We know it without a doubt. So why is it always pushing this African, this Pan-African? Why is it? Because it was a Pan-African trade that took place. And so if you just try to tie those timelines in and say, okay, well, this was all Pan-African trade and this is how this happened, this is how they got here, you can almost like do it with ease if the people don't research. So you can tell somebody anything, and that's what they doing. They telling people anything. They're not looking for you to do research. They're not looking for you to dig in and really try to find out the root of all of what's being used against us. I mean, with our own, this is our own culture that's being sold to us. Our own culture. Think about that. They selling you your own culture, man. For real. Everything. All of it's basically come from our culture. Then they charge you for it. Take all the fruit trees. Look around, man. When we was growing up, man, there used to be fruit trees everywhere. And there wasn't no worries about no fruit and no, being able now. This stuff that they calling fruit, and they done put so many chemicals in the ground to do this and raise this. Is the earth done lost its power to regenerate good fruit? Is that what y'all telling us? No, we know that ain't true. But yet you sell me a copycat fruit with no seeds in it and say, here you go. Take that. Knowing it ain't nothing but a sugar bomb. It has no true power. We are into the true power. We want that true knowledge, that true light, that true understanding about everything that we into. So look, I'm gonna give you one of these breakdowns and let you check this out. So this is one of the pieces of artwork, Colonial Williamsburg, the Indian origins of the cross. As you can see on this picture, you've got two men, and they've got these rackets. And these are the indigenous people playing this game. Well, hold on. So check this out right here, y'all. It says, how did colonists become interested in the game of lacrosse? Two opposing things. In the summer of 1763, during the 7 Years' War between Britain and France, the Fox played the Ojibwa in a game at Fort Michilimackinac in what would become Michigan to honor the birthday of King George III. The soldiers who witnessed the contest were fascinated by the rough play and the speedy back and forth engagement. Captivated, they began to wager with one another and root for their favorites, just like the Indian spectators. So focused on play were the troops that they were not aware that Indian women had been sneaking weapons into the fort and up toward the ring of spectators. All of a sudden, the Indians dropped their sticks, grabbed their weapons, and massacred the foreign onlookers. And that's just one of the situations that took place at these games. They got so caught up, man, in what was going on, screaming and hollering and watching the Indians run up and down the court and be so physical with one another. Man, they envy these people, man. They want to be like these people, man. You know, they wanted this. They got so caught up they lost their lives. And that's where that word fanatic comes from. Because you get so caught up in these games, man, now, and people lose their houses, their homes, their cars, their families to betting on these games. Man, you gotta be a fanatic. It's a sickness. It's a disease. You get caught up. You in the illusions. So it's something that if you're not mindful of, then you don't understand the blow. You don't understand how is this taking place. Why is there so much power in this? But they know, the people who hijack this game and put these games down. Man, if you was to look at all the money that is being made off of games, you got sports betting going on all around the world. Not just in America, all around the world. Sports betting on these games. It's amazing, man, what you can do with something that someone else has no idea of the value of it. It was a spiritual gain to the indigenous people. It was a passage of rights. It was boys coming into manhood. It was giving honor to the gods. It was all of these things. But not one of them had anything to do with money. Not one of them. So you have a people who are able to take what we used as a cultural binder. You know, even games were used, you know, to rights of hunting and trading of, you know, families coming together, daughters being coming into their husband. It was just so much into this. It was a political thing. This game was a political power in and of itself. So you have people who are into these games and are mesmerized by it because they don't understand this was actually it's in your DNA to be a part of this. And it's changed, and you can see the changing of it now because the games are not as physical. They're not physical because the spiritual factor of boy to men is not in the game. It's all about money now. They don't want the old men to be physical like the old Pistons. Them old Pistons teams, that was a rite of passage, man. You had to get past the Pistons to even get any further. You had to get past the bad boys. They don't want that now. They don't want the product hurt. All they want is up and down the floor, shoot the ball, keep it going. You know. the cultural factor means nothing anymore. So check this out. This is the so-called the birthplace of basketball is built into the fabric of Springfield College. The game was invented by Springfield College instructor the grad. What did you just say? The game was invented by Springfield College instructing graduate student James Naismith in 1891 and has grown into a worldwide athletic phenomenon we know it to be today. See, that's why we here today about putting this light on these situations, right? Or on these excuse me, on these copycat so-called creations. No, we ain't going for it. So let me put this up right here as well. James Naismith had been credited with his creation in Massachusetts in 1891. But scholars have noted basketball's similarities to games played by indigenous people in Mesoamerica and tribes from the High Plains and Northwest Plateau had their own sports involving balls and hoops. He saw it. But you can go back and check this article out, man, how native basketball challenged colonial hegemony and rejected conformity. You did? These are some young females, man, that was playing the game they done got from their ancestors, man. They wasn't going for it, man. You hear me? So what we saying is we know that, yeah, y'all will put somebody up and say he created this, he did this, but I know if we do our research like we just did, we're going to find information where scholars is already saying, you didn't really do it, but okay, it's your story. You go ahead and tell it. But we got these indigenous people up in the plains already playing this game with balls and hoops, man. We already got them. So if you want to say you did this, Naismith, okay, go on and say you did it. It's your story. You sticking to it. Feel me? But look, what research do? Research make you say, you might want to do your research. You feel me? Because here it is right here. We got the information right here, man. And you reading it for yourself. And you can go back and check this article. See, that's what I like about the truth. It don't pull no punches. The truth don't. And so the question is, do you want it? If you want it, dig and get it and find it. Alright. So take it down, right? So y'all see what I'm saying? True power. Who's really selling us out? Who is really selling us out, man? You know, sometimes we gotta really take a strong look in the mirror and say, man, is it us? Are we selling ourselves out? We know we've been sold, you know what I'm saying, a bill of this and a bill of that, and they done made this up. We know we've been sold into this. We know the game is already stacked, man. And we know where you done got your true power from, America. We know, we understand, we see it. And if we don't know, we're going to continue to do what we're doing now. Is that's doing that research and bringing it to the light. Pull the covers back on this shit and really take a strong look and say, how in the world are these people collecting all the revenue off of what's rightfully belongs to our culture? And when I say our culture, I'm talking about the indigenous people of these lands, man. I'm black. I got Blackfoot. I'm Blackfoot. Ain't no I am Blackfoot. So, America, we ain't just looking at cotton. We looking at the whole pot. We're looking at the whole pie. And we woke to what's going on. We're not buying the Pan African story, and we're not knocking that because that is somebody's story. But the indigenous people of this land, we got our own story. And we got rights to not just the minerals and different uh, pieces and parts and aspects to what's going on in this land of ours. Man, y'all got our culture, man. And y'all been benefiting off our culture and then writing little stipulations and codes against us to keep us off base. Why? It's more than enough. Here's the thing, man, about greedy people, man. They want it all. When it's more than enough for everybody. It's more than enough. All these billions of dollars that's being scraped in off of our culture, yet and still you have people say, man, why don't they want to give us what's ours? You know, it's like you got somebody's ancestors' old vase or old vase, however you want to say it. You got somebody's grandparents' old pearls and old diamonds. Well, see, we're going to look at our culture like that because we see the power of the culture, what you've done with it. Even when you misused our culture, America, you misused our culture, but you took it and said, here, I'm going to take what they got from them, and then I'm going to sell it right back to them. They ain't going to know why they drawn to it. It's in their DNA. It's in the makeup of who these people are. I don't think that's a bit stretch right there. You it's gotta be, we gotta make sense of this. All right. And so what it starts with us. When we put light on these situations, it starts with us. It starts with us. And we say, okay, what do we do with the knowledge and the information that we have just come into? We have to stop selling ourselves out. We can't keep on paying for what's already ours. Guess what? Let somebody else pay it. But we don't need to pay it. We already paid enough. We done paid enough. And so a lot of people, even the guys who play or pursue this game, gotta ask themselves, knowing that this comes from your culture, your history, are you gonna go make somebody else filthy rich with your culture, activity? It's a spiritual game. This ain't just no game for pay. Even though that's what has been done, it's no problem if people is into it. That's what they into. I ain't knocking nobody, but it's about a spiritual thing. When you start talking about my spirit and your spirit, you gotta say, hold on, what do I want to do? Do I want to go any further with this? So to the young cats, man, take a good look. When we used to play ball, we used to have a good time, man. Out there on that court late nights, bugs flying, crickets, you know what I'm saying, chirping, and man, we out here and the girls is out here, we all having a good time. It's a spiritual thing. But they done took that, what we used to bind and grow in each other with, now it's commercialized. They making billions off of it, and we pay them to do that? Nah. Go to the park, man. It's a LeBron at the park. It's a Jordan at the park. Because it's in the spirit of. You can't take what's in our spirit and think that it only exists on your TV or on your screen. Nah, it's in our blood. It's in our DNA. So the true power is in us. Reach down, y'all. Grab that true power. Pull it up. And let's take it to another level, y'all. We got to do what we got to do. Rise to the occasion. Bring all lives to the light, and we're gonna grow every day and every night. Let's do this. Thank y'all for tuning in. Check us out. Bam.